Good evening, Keto and Wrestling, MJ Wrestling Shoots family. MATTROISE here with another live stream. And tonight,
June 28th, 1998,
it's Season 6.
WWF's King of the Ring pay-per-view. One match would
Dark Side of the
place
Ring.
as one of the most shocking in wrestling history. Undertaker versus Mankind in Hell in a Cell.
Please allow me to be your eyes and ears for this broadcast.
I know it's going to be crazy, but I didn't know it was going to be that crazy.
You had two talents out there that like to really push that envelope until it fell over the edge.
Oh, wrestling's fake. You can't fake gravity.
I've been frightened by a lot of things in pro wrestling. Nothing frightened me as much as that did. Until later on in the match, anyway.
What left fans stunned was the unrelenting punishment Mick Foley endured.
Until you saw it, you didn't believe that a person could physically do this and live.
This match was real. The pain was real. The drama was real.
I was cursing and screaming and calling him an effing idiot. Why are you doing this?
One of wrestling's most infamous matches, Hell in a Cell's legacy persists as both an epic success and a cautionary tale.
I think we dodged bullets that day. Not just one, but several.
It's really crazy to think that they would allow someone to go unconscious and then just continue the match.
The collateral damage that ensued is another story.
When does it stop? When's it enough? You pay all day long for the decisions you make in your 15 minutes in the spotlight.
It was a dangerously crazy masterpiece, but all of us need to ask ourselves the question, was it worth it?
Was it worth it? That is the question of the night. Dark Side of the Ring. Here we go. Mick Foley, Hell in a Cell.
Everyone who gets into wrestling is looking for something that they find missing in their own lives. For me, I was teased a lot, so I had an overwhelming need to be liked.
And to take that WWF championship belt.
For example, I remember being in college as a sophomore. I took a swig of red food coloring, and I did a superfly leap off a bed onto a stuffed animal on a concrete floor. And when I hit the floor, I spit that blood concoction out. Everybody in the dorm was there watching. And I heard one of the girls yell out, "That's the most disgusting thing I've ever seen." And I felt that power. So I thought, if I can't make people love me, perhaps I can disgust them. I just needed to get reactions. My name is Mick Foley. I am known as the Hardcore Legend, and I survived Hell in a Cell. I think Hell in a Cell is a perfect gateway. So many people have said that's the first match I was shown, and now I'm a huge fan. And my follow-up question is always like, did you expect all the matches to be like that? It's like, because they're not.
A normal Mick Foley match is quite hardcore, brutal, probably blood, thumbtacks, fire, barbed wire.
Getting exploded by C4 explosives in Japan. Getting speared through a table of fire. Taking like bumps on the concrete. I mean, he just put his body through so much. I'm Mickey Foley, and my dad is the hardcore legend Mick Foley.
I think he just really loves getting like an "oh my god" or "gross" or "nasty" type of pop. I'm Noelle Foley, and I'm the daughter of Mick Foley.
Realism was a big tool. I didn't think I was having a good match unless I had trouble getting back to my hotel room. I did not enjoy the pain. I enjoyed the fact that I could take it and sell it in a way that was fun.
I just had to really ask myself, do I want to get mixed up with this? I'm Colette Foley, and I've known Mick Foley for over 35 years.
The wife of
When
Mick
I
Foley.
met Mick, I noticed his eyes. I noticed that he was a gentle, nice person, but his corny jokes and terrible humor, that's what really made me fall in love with him. Our wedding song was actually Beauty and the Beast.
We were a good team. She understood. She understood my commitment. Like, she really did.
When that adrenaline was pumping, he just wanted people to leave talking about how great a show it was at his own risk. And that was his drive to keep going and get more crazy along the way.
He developed a personality called Cactus Jack.
You can't stop Cactus Jack.
He was a wild and crazy guy. You thought he might be insane.
Are you kidding me?
He had charisma. You couldn't take your eyes off this guy. He was different. He was unusual. I'm Jim Cornette, and at the time of the Hell in a Cell match, I was working as an agent and a producer for the WWF. Mick was excellent with psychology in his matches. He knew that the fans liked people that were out of control. Someone who was going against the script. He could take those people on that ride with him and elicit the response that he wanted to get. Then the attention would be on him and his reputation would grow.
Our bedroom furniture consisted of a mattress on the floor with a black and white television with a VCR that barely worked, and in that VCR was Japanese wrestling tapes.
I would sometimes watch 12 hours of Japanese wrestling a day. I like the realism, the storytelling. It's not just man versus man. You have to defeat the surroundings, you know. I thought Japan was likely to be where I made my living. They were looking for a foreigner who could feud with Terry Funk. Terry Funk was the greatest of all time for his ability to make people suspend disbelief in a second.
Terry Funk became somewhat of a mentor to Mick, and they started working together in these explosive, bloody, violent, fiery death matches in Japan.
Whoa.
I was always drawn to the wild stuff, so I would literally be on my hands and knees, and I thought that was proof that I had done something special. This is a place I can make myself stand out. So I never saw myself being a WWE guy.
In WWF at the time, it wasn't a PG era, it was a G-rated era. Very bland. And for someone like Mick, his style didn't really gel with what WWF was selling. My name is Al Snow. I'm a former WWE superstar. I was Mick Foley's travel partner, and dare I say, probably his best friend. Probably his only friend. I'm just kidding. Vince McMahon did not want Mick Foley. Didn't think that he was marketable. Didn't think he was attractive.
How I convinced McMahon to hire Mick was to give me a chance on my observations and talent, because I see something in this guy. I'm Jim Ross, and at the time of the Hell in a Cell, I was Vice President of Talent Relations. I needed to make sure that we had dancing partners for the top guys. Undertaker was one of the biggest stars in the history of wrestling.
Vince kept trying to go with giants to face The Undertaker, which was boring and dull. What you needed was a lunatic.
I've heard a story about Vince slamming his hand down on the table and said, "All right, I'll bring him in, but I'm covering up his face."
We don't know who he is. We don't know nothing about him. Well, he's nobody. He's nothing. That's Vince's perception of Mick Foley. Hey, everybody, I'm Gerald Briscoe, better known as Jerry Briscoe, WWE Hall of Famer and Chickasaw Nation Hall of Famer. Vince McMahon was like, okay, now you guys go and build a character around nothing. So we come down to Mankind. What the hell is Mankind?
This bogus bullshit wouldn't have worked with anybody but Mick Foley.
He's pulling his own hair out.
Without a connection to the audience, without character, everything else is meaningless. I think fans can sense the commitment.
My goal for Mick was that he was going to be a great opponent for The Undertaker. He was willing to try anything. As my granny would say, he didn't turn nothing down but the covers.
Oh my God!
So now I've got this big challenge to not let him kill himself.
The Undertaker and I were laying quite a foundation. 7 pay-per-view matches, 10 TV matches. We've been around the globe together.
Wow.
But my character had kind of plateaued. I knew I had to do something that would add to instead of detract from our legacy.
For 1998's King of the Ring pay-per-view, WWF producers plan to reignite the Mankind Undertaker feud with a recently developed concept, Hell in a Cell.
The way that they did cage matches in the WWF was you had to either get out by either climbing over the cage or leaving through the door. I asked Vince McMahon, I said, what about if this cage match is different? What about if we put a roof on the cage? Both go in, only one's coming out. And that's where we came up with Hell in a Cell.
Undertaker and Shawn Michaels had the first Hell in a Cell, and it was a mile marker.
Well, the Michaels Undertaker match, technically, to me, it's still the best one. I just looked at this match open-jawed. I literally can't do any of the things that these guys are doing.
Some 9 months later, they're going to do it again, this time The Undertaker and Mankind.
And then I asked Terry Funk, what are we going to do? And he started laughing. He went, you know, what'd be funny is, what if you actually started the match on top of the cell? And what if you were thrown off? He's saying it as a joke. He stopped laughing. I looked at him and I said, I think I could do that. I could not get the idea out of my head. I pitched The Undertaker and Mr. McMahon the idea of being thrown off into a casual conversation. It was a great sell job.
I wasn't on board really for throwing Mick off the cell, and you know, he was dead set, and then you know, he got Vince on board with him, and I was like, okay.
I was not looking at this match as like a second act in my career. I was just looking at it as a way to try to keep my head above water. I thought, when this run is done, I am too.
Did you know going into this what Mick had planned?
Yes, he told me the high spots, that he was going to be all right. If he can see it, he can do it. And I trust that.
We have only seen one Hell in a Cell matchup in WWF history, and it was the most unbelievable match that I think I've ever witnessed, JR.
I remember specifically thinking to myself, I need to come out with everything I've got, just eyes on the prize.
This match has so much riding on it, JR, that the loser may not even stop at the hospital. They may go straight to the morgue.
There's that old saying, be careful what you wish for, you just might get it.
Ooh.
A message from the Sonic Department of Research.
All right, they're on commercial break. Wow, what a match. I remember watching that match live when it was happening on pay-per-view. Do you guys remember watching that match live, or did you guys ever see that match? I mean, that was insane. That was crazy. I had invited my friends over. Johnny Boots was there. We were watching this pay-per-view, and that match was insane. Like, we were going crazy. Like, oh man. We didn't know if Mick had died watching that match. I mean, when we saw him get thrown off the cell, it was a game changer. It was like nothing we've ever seen before. Nothing. And when he was stretchered out, we thought the match was over. And then he got off the stretcher and met Taker on the cell again, only to be chokeslammed through the cage. I mean, That is crazy. Yeah, Jeff, they're on commercial break right now. I will, when they return, I'll put the volume back up. But yeah, it was insane. One of my favorite matches, I'd say, top 10 favorite matches, was this match. Undertaker versus Mankind, Hell in a Cell, King of the Ring, 1998. It was live from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I'm not sure where it was from, but it was definitely it was an amazing match, for sure. It was crazy. Everything's good. Everything's good, Rory. How you been? Yeah, the first Hell in a Cell match, that was a great match too. That was when Kane debuted. There was so much going on with that match as well. I mean, I personally believe the Undertaker and Mankind match was the greatest Hell in a Cell match of all time. Personally, I think it definitely topped the first match between Shawn Michaels and Undertaker. Cactus Jack versus Triple H. That was another great Hell in a Cell match. Yeah, Rory was at the first ever Hell in a Cell match at Bad Blood. It was at St. Louis. Jeff, they haven't returned yet. They're on commercial break still. But yeah, it was... what a show. What a match that was. Watching it on pay-per-view. It was crazy. And Poppy, he was so nice. You know, he would let us order one pay-per-view a month. So that was really cool of him to do that. And we had to choose between WWE, or WWF at the time, and WCW. And if we were really good, he would let us order ECW too. So one, WWF or WCW, and whatever ECW pay-per-view was going to happen. ECW was cheaper at that time. I think it was $19.99 a month or $19.99 a pay-per-view, and WWF or WCW was $29.99. So it wasn't that bad back then. I mean, it was still expensive, but who would have thought that now it's like $6, $7 a month with Peacock? I mean, that's crazy.
You're watching Vice Sports.
Here we go. We have returned.
Ladies and gentlemen, the following contest is the Hell in the Cell match.
On June 28, 1998, at Pittsburgh Civic Arena, a packed house eagerly awaits the Hell in a Cell showdown between Undertaker and Mankind.
Yeah, you got to imagine the pressure that Mick's probably feeling as he's walking to the ring, you know, knowing that the last time an audience saw this match, it was Shawn and Taker, knowing that he's got to outdo that.
Poor Mick is not exactly the most nimble guy in the world either. My name is Jimmy Corderas. At the time of Hell in the Cell, I was part of the ring crew and also a referee. I was backstage watching on the monitors, and Gerald Briscoe was the one who produces there.
I had the best seat in the house, sat right in front of about 10 monitors watching everything.
So you were like basically sitting in the captain's seat during Hell in a Cell?
I was the pilot, baby. This is probably the first time in 20 years that I've watched this match.
No one knew what to anticipate, and I don't think anyone could have ever imagined what they were going to see.
I was as much in the dark as a fan watching at home.
I did want to start the match in a way nobody had ever started a match before, and to do something no one had ever done.
See that chair on top of the cage? What is it doing? Mankind is climbing the cage.
I think there's a little bit of shock on everybody's face, like, he's going up now? He's going up at the beginning of the match?
He's supposed to start out inside the cage, isn't he?
What next?
He's not very logical. I mean, he needs therapy.
I had not been on on top of the cell. I assured Mr. McMahon and The Undertaker, oh, yeah, I've been up there, it's fine. But the truth is, when I got up there, I was terrified. I'm actually not good with heights. The entire time The Undertaker's music is playing, I'm thinking to myself, how can I gracefully climb down this cell without ruining my career?
You think he's daring The Undertaker to start this match up there?
I thought it was a hell of a way to start.
Apparently, Hell in a Cell match
That's
is
insane.
officially underway.
It created a theater of the mind that one could not get past. Something's going to happen. What's going to happen?
They had attached the top section of the cage with zip ties. But there's 600 pounds of human beings up there.
Zip ties.
Tigger and I both take a step, and that mesh goes down by about a foot.
Oh.
And I literally hear zip ties springing.
They're destroying the Hell in a Cell.
When those zip ties were popping off, I thought, oh boy, this is not good.
I attempt to suplex The Undertaker on top of that mesh. He cut that off, knowing that, there was a decent chance we were both going to go through it.
They're throwing punches, and they got towards the edge of the cage where the announce tables were.
I thought when they got close to the edge, there's just no way in hell they're just going to take a tumble off the top of the cage. That's too dangerous. That's too iffy.
There's very little margin for error. I look at this incredibly small table, like a little dollhouse. I don't know how in the world it's going to work out.
And lo and behold, the closer they got to the edge of the cage, the more I became convinced that something big's going to happen here momentarily. And it did.
Threw him off.
Then all of a sudden,
He fell off.
Here's
Jeez.
Jim Ross, and here's Jerry Lawler, as well as the Spanish announcers. And they're looking up, and a 300-pound human being is flung at them from almost 20 feet above them. And he's coming at them fast.
as strange as it sounds, it felt like it was going by in slow motion. It also went by in the blink of an eye.
All of a sudden you hear this thud, this crack.
Crazy.
Holy shit, did we just see what we thought we saw?
The sound of it going through the announcer table was scary as hell.
Everyone that was in the back, we just exploded in concern.
Look at that. Look at this. Give me a break.
It was like witnessing a car accident. Who you will thought he was dead.
We need doctors out here. Folks, we apologize. This match has stopped dead in its tracks.
In a business filled with crazy, strange things, nobody had ever tried to do something like this before. It blew everybody's mind. And I thought, my God, this is over. There's no way he's going to get back up.
Yeah, that was insane. Wow, and I didn't remember that, but Jim Ross and Jerry Lawler were still sitting there when he was thrown off of the cell. I mean, what if his leg hit one of these guys or his body? Jeez, these guys would have been incapacitated. 300-pound guy at that time is probably 16 feet. That Hell in a Cell, I believe it was like 16 feet or so. It's pretty high up. I mean, it's a pretty high cell. The original Hell in a Cell was 16 feet. I think they made it 20 feet later on, and nobody's attempted to except Shane McMahon. He's jumped off of the cell onto a table after The Undertaker at WrestleMania. Was it WrestleMania 33, I believe? Man, that was insane. But the Winged Eagle, Jeff, I wasn't planning on selling it, but I might, in the future. Yeah, I got the big gold here. The Winged Eagle. These are my favorite belts of all time. The big gold is signed by Eric Bischoff and Diamond Dallas Page. Yeah, Garrett, WCW. Yeah, now there's a WCW channel on YouTube, guys. Isn't that crazy? The third man is Jey Uso with John Cena and The Rock. I don't know. I mean, we got to see. You know, I just think that Cena, he's going to turn babyface again before we know it. Because he may not even go into WrestleMania heel, for all we know. The Favor, that's another thing. The Favor. What's the Favor CM Punk was talking about? That's another thing. Oh, yeah, Ryan. Yeah, I actually was giving away one of these as a prize before. The Ultimate Warrior mask. And I got an Ultimate Warrior wine bottle there. The Ultimate Warrior wine. So, yeah, it's got some cool stuff on the... On here, I got Uncle Sam over there. A lot of cool things in the back of me here. All right, we're back.
We had 2 young children at the time, and they didn't know what to think of it. All I kept saying was, oh, it's fake, just to soothe them. Yet in the back of my mind, I'm freaking out.
It's tough to know when it really, really, really is real. But it had to have hurt him, and it was believable.
If The Undertaker threw him just a little too far or a little too short, that's falling from God knows how high onto concrete. Or could have even landed on fans.
The pain would come later. I'm kind of flying high on adrenaline, and I've pulled off this pretty lofty goal. I mean, going through the table could not have gone better.
He saw it in his head, and in midair, he turned in such a way that he was able to land flat on that announce desk to cushion that fall and not kill him.
And when it did happen, you should have heard the voices back there. Replay that. And you go into business mode where you're trying to get every great shot that you had with it.
Hugo Savinovich, the Spanish commentator, bailed out of his chair instead of getting flattened.
It was pretty traumatic, to be honest, because it was my friend out there and being torn with the rule that you don't step in, you don't interfere with whatever Mick was trying to construct.
The fans were literally having this guy laying at their feet, and they're looking at all the attendants and the referees. There's Terry Funk!
Terry Funk was the first one to get there. I asked Terry, is he conscious? Right there. Now we're trying to make room for Dr. Francois to get there.
So I
Dr. Francois.
Room, and suddenly I hear, right now, come right now. Big fell from the top of the cell. And I said, what? I'm Dr. Francois Petit, aka Chian Petit. I used to be the doctor for WWF for about 4.5, 5 years on the road, and before that for about 8, 9 years in Los Angeles.
Francois was kind of like the French Army knife. Francois was a black belt in karate. He was Sub-Zero in the first Mortal Kombat movie.
Wow, he was Sub-Zero?
Probably a secret agent and, investment banker. And Francois was what I think they call him bone crackers. He could fix you. You probably wouldn't enjoy it, but he could put you back in place. No matter what the malady was. Hey, baby, I fix you, baby. It'll be okay.
Mick Foley, of course. He was my number 1 patient, if I can say something like that. Well, hell, this is nuts, what he did. He fell on his back badly, and on top of that, on his dislocated shoulder.
The EMT people have no idea how to get the gurney down there. and it turns out the gurney wouldn't fit. So now they've got to raise the cell with the Undertaker on it.
Is he gonna jump down here?
He was put on that gurney like that was real. They were going to take him to the hospital.
We thought the damn thing was over with. I mean, what else can they do, you know? But we found out.
I realized that the longer I'm on there, the more fully the audience is engaged.
I've never seen anything like that in my life. No, I'm not. Yeah.
But I've got a feeling that I'm going to be able to continue.
Everybody was trying to tell him, no, Mick, you're done. Stop.
What are you doing? Where are you going? Why are you doing this? Just stay down.
Holy shit, he's coming back for more?
Are you kidding me? It's going back down. No way. So is the Undertaker. No way.
I'm thinking this got to be the craziest, dumbest SOB in our business.
How can his body?
At this point, I do not know how I'm going to do this and live. But I have pledged to do it, and I'm going to do it.
This is absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing here.
I'm thinking to myself, you're insane, you're an idiot. But at the same time that I'm thinking that, I'm thinking that was the moment that really made him a star.
By then, backstage was packed because they know shit's going on.
I stayed back where I was because I knew something else is going to happen. I knew.
I guess at the end of the day, I'm glad that they went back up because it created another moment. It added to the storyline. Because sometimes you can storyline yourself right to the hospital.
The next spot in the storyline pitched by Mick Foley was far less concerning.
Headbutt by the Undertaker and a right hand.
At least at first.
We had already agreed on the one choke slam, which we thought would cause the mesh to gradually give way, and the big visual was going to be Undertaker like stuffing me down, but that did not happen.
He throws him up on the other side.
And now, Houston, we got a problem.
That's it, he's dead.
That's it, he's
How
dead.
about the destruction of the Foley body was well in hand.
Somebody stop the damn man.
It was a completely different situation than when he got thrown off the top. You just know.
I'm screaming at the TV set. I am cursing. I was like trying to get the company on the phone, and I couldn't get through to anybody. Like, how do you tell your children, oh, Daddy's acting? Laying there lifeless, motionless. This was not expected at all. I thought that was the end of him.
Yeah, that was brutal. That was brutal. Yeah, like I said, I remember watching this match live when it was going on, and we were going nuts when we were kids. We were having a great time. Jeez. Well, they're on commercial break right now. Yep. Nope. It's not over yet. We still got some time left for Dark Side of the Ring. Yep, it's not over yet. You love the music, Garrett? Yeah, they have great music that they use. Dark Side of the Ring. One of the executive producers sometimes comes on the live stream in the chat room. Jason Eisner. He's been here a few times, and I haven't seen him tonight yet, but he stops by every now and then. You love the ring tone in the background, Rory? Yeah, it's just an alarm. But yeah, I mean, I'm watching this, like, you know, this right here made Mick Foley like one of my heroes growing up, and you know, it's a shame when I finally did meet Mick, it wasn't good. But we'll talk about it later.
When he hit that solid mat, mat doesn't do it justice. It's more like hitting the cement. As he's falling, that metal, heavy, solid folding chair came right behind him.
You can see when he lands that chair, boom, there's a chair on his face, boom.
He could have very easily died. I mean, my mom thought he was dead also.
I was shocked. I was screaming. I was furious. Because I thought he betrayed me by not telling me the truth that there was another spot.
There we go. Choke slam. Oh. That was the first time in his career that he'd been legitimately knocked out cold. We all flooded the cage, Dr. Francois, Terry Funk. The guys that went out there were thinking, this might be the end. He was really not responsive at that point.
He's knocked out?
I turn around and look at Undertaker. And I say, okay, that's enough. Because I saw his eyes not answering.
Man, he landed in such a funky way. I didn't know that he was going to get up. I was legit scared for what the results were going to be.
The Undertaker, he looked at Terry and said, see if he's alive. Terry reports back, he's still breathing. There were so many times where I've seen stars, but I'd never been out for more than a couple seconds. And this time there's 42 seconds that I don't recall.
Terry Funk took it into his own hands and walked up to Undertaker and said, hit me. So he could take the focus away from Mick a little bit so everybody could tend to him. It's all ad-lib. It's all at the moment. If I'd ever seen a match that should have been stopped, that was probably the one. But you just didn't do it back then.
He didn't do it back then.
We didn't stop matches. We bought time. And I needed every second that I could get. When I came to it, I immediately saw Terry Funk's shoes. I then realized I'm in this match, and that's where I try to stand.
How is he still standing up? I don't have a damn clue.
Oh my God, he is a freaking mess.
It's really crazy to think that they would
Yeah, he
allow
was
this
knocked
to
out. Look at
happen.
him.
Just
His
let
face.
someone go unconscious and then continue the match.
As the clouds began to clear, I was all about trying to create an image for TV. I've got a massive wound underneath my lip, and if I can find a way to take my tongue, stick it through that massive wound, it's going to make for a great TV moment.
Oh, my. And he's smiling.
There's the tooth. There's the tooth.
How do you get hit in the face with a chair and it knocks your tooth out and it ends up in your nostril? One of the doctors said that it went into his throat, but because he was breathing so heavily that he had sucked it up the other way and came down through his nasal passage.
Wow.
Maybe a tooth.
This match was real. The pain was real. The drama was real. The expressions on everybody's face were real. Real concern.
You could look in his eyes and tell you there was nobody home. And I'm trying to talk to him. All he wanted to do is we got to get you attacked.
He got attacked.
This was their first appearance in WWE. I felt like I should be the guy to bring him over.
First time thumbtacks. Wow.
And Mick's purposely rolling around and make sure he gets all the thumbtacks on him as much as possible.
Oh, choke slam.
Adrenaline is taking over. You don't realize the pain anymore. You're part of the pain. You're pushing so far, you don't even know you're doing it.
Mick is very big about come hell or high water, whatever it is, he will see it through.
Finally, the 17-minute match comes to an end, with The Undertaker defeating Mankind.
What a spectacle it was.
Only 17
In
minutes.
that Pittsburgh Civic Arena, 16,000 people. We've never seen anything like this before.
They brought the stretcher out because we thought it was needed for sure. But he waved it off, and that crowd went absolutely insane.
This was real as a heart attack, and the people could tell. That puts the fans in the corner of this guy who just cannot be stopped. And that's the kind of shit that gets over.
An audience has invested their time, their money, and their effort in one single thing, and that is the belief in you. He knew and understood that risking his well-being allows them to more thoroughly believe in him and the experience.
Thank God this is over. We kept taking these chances, and another chance, and another chance. After why?
As long as I live, I will never forget what we just witnessed right there, folks.
He would always call and check in with me, let me know that he's okay.
And now here comes the one pay-per-view where she really needs to know, and there's no phone call.
I had to wait and wait and wait. It made me worry, and that anger came back. And a few hours later, Mick calls me.
She was screaming at me. Your children thought you were dead. I think prior to the cell, she prepared by trusting that I wasn't going to do anything to jeopardize the family. After that, it became a big concern.
On the next step.
Yeah, I mean, that was wild. And not to mention, after that match, he got involved with the main event of that night with Kane and Stone Cold. I mean, that's crazy. He still wasn't done for the night. He did a run-in. Wow. But yeah, going back to my story about Mick Foley. See, watching these matches, he became an idol for me. A legend in my eyes. And I always wanted to meet him, so this autograph signing was going to take place in Brooklyn, New York, where I'm from. And we went to the autograph signing. There was a bunch of people there. And Mick Foley was a little bit late. He got there a little late. When he finally arrived, he looked like he was a little disheveled. He looked like he didn't want to be there. He looked like he was annoyed about something. Maybe he had a headache or something. I don't know. Maybe he's hungover. I don't know. He just didn't look right. He definitely looked like he didn't want to be there. So he instructed Dave Hebner, who was facilitating that autograph signing, to tell everybody, just give him what you want me to sign and be on your way. No handshakes, no pictures, no camera flashes, none of that. Just give them what you want to get signed and be on your way. So fast and as fast as can be. So yeah, I guess, he wanted to be in and out of there. He didn't want to stick around. And I got there, finally meeting my idol. He just signs a 8x10 for us. Like, all right, thank you. And that's it. We were on our way. And I just felt rushed. I felt like he wasn't very friendly. Like he just was doing his job and going home. And it's really a shame because, it was an autograph signing. It was a free autograph signing, but he was supposed to be there. I mean, it was at Fun Time USA. And it's just a shame that he treated his fans like that. So I took that autograph, I crumbled it up, and I threw it in the trash when we left. And I never looked back since. And I know they say never meet your idols because they'll let you down. And that was definitely the case with Mick Foley. He definitely let me down. It's a shame. It's really a shame. But I do respect what he's done here, though.
Make sure he was
We're
as
back.
okay as he could possibly be.
One of the first people to greet Mick at the curtain was Vince McMahon. He said, Mick, I want to thank you for what you've done for my company, and I want you to promise me that you will never do anything like it again. And pull those thumbtacks out of it.
I'm going backstage and I overheard Mick say to Taker, did we do the thumbtack spot? He doesn't realize that the doctor's just plucking him out of him right now?
When you love somebody and you respect them as much as I did Mick, my first thought was, are you okay? Are you really okay?
I don't think he truly anticipated how severe that was going to be. Like that night, I had to help him get undressed and then into bed. You know, he was messed up on that one.
I think it was 15 stitches underneath the lip. Lost these 2 teeth. I don't even know if I was treated for a concussion. I had a bruised kidney for about 6 weeks. My jaw was dislocated. I can't remember which shoulder was dislocated. But you know what? That match changed the way people felt about me. And that's what really sparked the career renaissance.
With what you did at Hell in a Cell, I want to publicly thank you.
Going from Vince not wanting to see him in a WWF ring to 6 months after that match, he was world champion.
The reaction, the pop, the adrenaline, the rush, the more he did, the more risks he took, it made me worry. The bar kept just going up because it was never good enough.
I think he felt like he had to live up to being the hardcore legend, continuing things that he probably shouldn't have.
Mick, at that point, was about what are the limits of physical human endurance? He felt like he owed it to the guy he was working with. He owed it to the people to do something that they hadn't seen before.
I remember, not a scolding, but a warning. If you continue to try to do these type things, it's going to catch up with you. He understood, but he didn't agree with me.
Just 7 months later, Mick Foley again pushes his limits, this time in a brutal showdown with The Rock in the infamous I Quit match.
Oh, that was brutal.
No stopping the match for excessive blood loss.
I told Mick that's a horrible idea, but he was going to do what he needed to do and what he wanted to do. I mean, he's riding the big tidal waves.
Well, I also think it had something to do with my way of making it seem like everything is going to be all right.
It was one of the worst days of my life.
And the Ashwood match is underway.
I had both children with me. It was super brutal from the beginning.
I got carried away.